Hey guys. So, I wanted to just come on and talk about an experience I had this morning. Well, basically, I wanted to go outside while the eclipse was going on, and I'm on the East Coast in the United States, so it was coming through. Well, the eclipse was happening as the sun was rising. It was 5:48 a.m., I think, is when they said it would come through. And I have a bunch of trees and stuff, so it blocks the sun. I wouldn't have been able to see it anyways, but I just wanted to be in the energy of it, you know? So I went out on the porch, and I live in the mountains, but the road we live on is like super steep. And at the very end, there's like a curve. And there's like it's an area where the deer like to cross all the time. So all of a sudden I saw a small deer. I was kind of like thrown off because if you see one deer, you almost can guarantee that you're going to see 2, 3, 4, maybe even more with it. And they all cross together. And so, but it was just one young deer. And I was like, that's interesting. And it just stood there. And I was cool at first because it was early. You know, there's a few people going to work, but it's not too crazy out there. And then all of a sudden, I have like the high point of view because we're kind of like on the top of where this huge hill is. And at the bottom, there's like two curves. One goes this way and so I could see the headlights coming. And this deer, oh my God, this deer starts walking. And it's, mind you, the car won't be able to see it till it comes right around the corner. So like the car is not going to see it, right? And it just starts walking in the direction of where the oncoming traffic would be coming. And in my head, I'm like, really, Spirit? Like, this is what you want to show me during, like, literally during the eclipse? It's like a deer getting hit by a car? Because that's what I thought that was going to happen. Because it didn't look promising. Because most of the time, once the deer sees the car, it's that stereotypical deer in the headlight, right? And so all of a sudden, it was like the deer heard the car and it darted across. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I was sitting there like, nobody know. Like, I'm just sitting. There was nothing I could do. I felt so helpless. But then after that, I was just sitting there and I was like, what the heck was that about? Like, so I asked Spirit, like, please clarify to me during the day today, like, what was that about? Because that's usually what happens. I'll ask for clarification or I'll ask for assistance, information, a sign, whatever, and that comes later. Sometimes it's days later. Sometimes it's instantaneous, you know. If you're really connected, you can get into automatic writing, which I've learned and taught myself how to do. You could do it that way too, but this was just something I was just like, okay, what the heck was that? And so whatever, I go back inside and I go about doing what I normally do in the mornings, my typical routine. And suddenly it came to me, because that's how it normally works for me. A thought form pops up into my head, a download, whatever you want to call it. Everybody calls it something different. Okay. And so basically what came through, and it's not verbatim. When information comes through, it's like you receive a concept. I like to explain what I experience to other people too, because I feel like people have experienced things, but they don't know what it is. They can't quite put their finger on it. So then they just brush it off like it's like some weird coincidence or whatever, you know. And it's just like learning how your higher self can communicate with you in so many ways, you know. So anyways, this came in as like a concept, like as sometimes they'll come in as like, you know how you daydream and you get visions, so you'll see the story play out, and now I can explain to you that story via what I saw, right? And so what the deer represented was the children. Okay. And I haven't talked a lot about my mission, mine and Lance's mission together as well. Because anytime I talk about the children, it's very difficult for me not to be like emotional the whole time. And so I just put it off, or I don't bring it up. Because I don't want to be on camera crying and stuff. But what Spirit told me is that sometimes people need to see that energy come out and to see they need to experience your perception, and they need to understand what you came here for, to help them remember that they came here for something is equally important, or maybe even similar, or maybe that's how we connect, by sharing what we see as part of our missions, right? And so this deer represented the children, right? And when me and Lance got together, I kind of had an idea that we're here for the children, but when you look back at how, when you were in the 3D, you were preparing the whole time, it kind of blows your mind. And you, this whole time, were setting yourself up for this mission. Now, whether you're going to step into it and step onto that timeline or not, that's up to you. That's up to, your free will and the choices that you make. Because you're a vibrational match to the choices that you make, and the energy that you carry, you choose to carry, because that's a choice, that's your free will, right? So, anyways, about how our life sets us up. So I'll start with Lance, and then I'll go into myself. For example, Lance got his degree in education. So did I. Actually, it was history, and then I got my master's degree in education. He's taught elementary school children, high school students, and then he ended up running an OSS, out of school suspension program, where the kids who normally would be out of school when they're suspended, they actually come to school that day, but they stay. It's basically in school suspension, if you ask me. But they come to this program to work with somebody. Basically, Lance was connecting with kids to try to keep them out of trouble and all that kind of stuff. Plus, he worked before that, like way in the beginning. He worked. If you're in the United States, I don't know how they do it in other countries, but they have these like homes for children who misbehave and stuff like that. Like their parents can't keep them under control, or their parents aren't able to take care of them in the right ways, and they get off on the wrong path and they get put in these homes, right? He's worked with kids in the homes. Actually known a lot of people. My dad, this is another connection. When my dad was in jail for years, and he came out, got his life together, and he ended up working at the courthouse in helping juveniles in probation. He would place them in these different facilities. It's so weird how it all connects. I didn't even think to bring that up. But yes. So anyways, it was one of those types of, that's where Lance, he used to work there too. So he's always worked with children. And the most amazing connection with Lance is his dad is a pastor. His dad carries the most amazing, genuine, authentic, like I could tell you anything kind of energy. Lance totally, like, he was raised by amazing parents who are still together. Like, I just love that he balances me out so much, because it's just so beautiful. Okay, so he had this good family dynamic. Mind you, he did lose his brother, so like they went through that, but he had parents to show him like how to respect, how to like, love and stuff like that. And so he's this beautiful example where, for me, and I'm getting to a point, but I have to explain these things. There's so many connections. Where my mom was married 4 times. My dad was married 3 times. I've been married multiple times. I have these like things that I chose to come in to these bloodlines to break the cycles, to alchemize the energy in those bloodlines. Okay. So, but the point of the matter is Lance balances me out, and it's just, the whole thing is just so wild. So anyways, the energy that we come into in terms of our mission are these like parental type figures to teach the children, right? But I'm coming back to what happened this morning, okay? So this deer represents the children, and I've been told this so many times. There are going to be many, many displaced children And it's beyond the children who are saved from human trafficking, okay? It's the children who are going to be here after the things that are going on right now play out, and a lot of adults are gone. Like, by the time they get really into like wanting to give it to the children, people are going to start waking up, and they're not going to give it to the children. But the adults had already taken it. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? And because of that, there will be a lot of displaced children because there's going to be nobody to take care of them in their immediate family. So we're here to create, and I didn't go through the rest of all the other synchronicities, but I should bring this up. I should bring this up before I even get into that. My mom, when I don't want to get into I'm trying to think of how I can cliff notes this because it's so much information that I want to condense, because I don't want this to be some long drawn out video of all the correlations as to why I'm on this mission in life. My mom, when I was a kid, didn't have her life together. She was a drug addict and alcoholic. We got taken away from her. My dad had to go to court many, many times after he got clean. My dad is 16 years older than my mom. That's why the whole story is this kind of weird, because my mom was like a baby. My dad had just got out of jail and got his life together and then got with my mom, which is like the weirdest thing. They have nothing in common. It's so weird. And so anyways, he had already got his shit together while my mom didn't. And she had custody of us, and she was very neglectful. Like, we would just be home alone all the time in filthy trailers with lice. Like, it was bad. So my dad was trying to get us back. Okay. And he eventually did. We got taken away from her, and then we didn't see her for a very long time. And that abandonment issue, like, has always carried me. That's like something I work through. It doesn't have to do with this conversation, but like, since I'm on here and everybody always like asks me about myself, there's that. So anyways, my mom got her life together. She started and what got her life together was church. Okay. So, which doesn't surprise me, because that side of my family is very religious, and they're very like, for instance, there were many people who outcasted my aunt when she came out for being gay. Like, very like, yeah, that, which is bullshit. And I stood up for her just in case anybody, like, I would just make these speeches at family functions like, y'all wrong. But anyways, my mom got her life together, and she started a nonprofit for children. And what I learned from the time I was in middle school all the way up until I went to college, helping my mom volunteer, which I still help her to this day. She still runs a community center. She used to run like a church camp where kids would go out in the country on this ranch. People would like let her use their facilities. So we used like a ranch. And she had these people come make cabins, and the kids would stay in the cabins all for free. And she lives in this very low income town. So it was like all these kids, like, this is what they look forward to every year, because it's like the only thing they got to do. Like, half of them, she would have to get them clothes and food, and she still does this. She's a freaking saint. She has like redeemed herself. Like, I feel like she wanted to make up for the guilt of not taking care of me and my brother when we were kids, and she just like, she's a saint. Okay. Anyways, when I was in high school, one of the kids that had went to the camp, we took him in as a foster kid, as a foster brother. He was our brother. We called him our brother. It was so funny because he was like he was real dorky, and he had been abused. Like, this is the part that's going to be hard for me to talk about, because people who are sheltered and have never helped or volunteered or like been around kids who are abused, it's fucking everywhere. When all the schools went out, when the COVID hit in the spring, the thing I was most upset about was kids being home in abusive situations. We need communities bad. And that's why, like, I speak out about people using the spiritual community and thinking they're on mission when they're really still service to self. Because it's fine if you want to sell products. It's fine if you want to have your services to help people who are already ascending. But our children are the future. These communities are our future. And if we don't start prioritizing that over, like, just like helping people who are already waking up, they're gonna wake up. They're already well on their way. Like, we're still gotta help each other. I'm not saying that, but we're not focusing enough on the community aspect that we have to bring in this new earth. Okay. And people have to be ready to be a part of these communities, at least the ones that I'm forming. And I say plural because I'm not just starting one community. I'm creating a template for everybody to use to create these communities who are going to help children. The children are our future. So anyways, like, and I just want to, like, give a quick example of what I mean. Like, why I bring up so much of the stupid crap that's going on in the spiritual community, because people are so stuck in their unconscious that they're stuck and they think they fucking know everything. And because of that, it's just like, it's a very service to self shit that people don't see. Because, like, they take the whole, and this is where they give you 90% of truth. People who are infiltrated by, sorry, I'm not trying to mess up that. People who are infiltrated, they will give you 90% truth, and then they'll, like, not even consciously know that they're telling you something that they've received from a source that's trying to corrupt the spiritual community. It's trying to keep people in ego. You'll know if you're on mission because it'll be straight service to others. And let me tell you something. You think that getting money by having seminars and just, like, helping these people who are already going to be on, like, that's fine. But the reward, and you feel like that's rewarding because you can buy more things or do whatever, that travel and do whatever the shit you want to do, that's all well and good. But I'm telling you right now, the reward of helping others and just being that example in a community where you're building up children and teaching them how the universe works. Like, what are we doing for the children? Should be I really feel like they should be almost everyone's number one priority. And it's not because you have to go and have a kid. It's because kids need to be in communities where they see different adults. They see adults who choose to be single, and not be in relationships. They see adults who show that commitment to each other, and they walk in integrity, and it's a healthy relationship. Like this is what kids need to see. And then it's like people running around promoting, like, polyamorous relationships and let me just be free and sleep with whoever I want to sleep with. Like, we have kids who have been human trafficked, assaulted, completely programmed, and then lose their parents and all this shit, and you're worried about being free and and being able to be free to have sex with whoever you want or whatever the case is, and then you want to, like, say, oh, that's like, I've heard so many things. Oh, that's an opportunity for the other person to work on jealousy. Oh, that's an opportunity. My son, I told him not to come outside. Oh my God. Okay, goody, listen. But, like, people will be like, defend. Like, let me just say this. There's nothing wrong with choosing to be in a poly relationship. But I have been told by my own guidance many of times that our consciousness as a collective is not to the level to be able to handle polyamorous relationships with integrity and respect for each other. And it's not helping us grow. It's not walking in love majority of the time. Some people can do it. Some people can. But I'm telling you right now, that is not, like, what we're trying to do here with these communities. And I'm going to, like, the templates that I build have to do with healed adults being a ray of light and an example, and teachers. Like, it's like having so many different people who are connected and on fire, and like, just like their cup overfloweth like no other, right? And that is who these children will be surrounded by every day. They'll walk into the kitchen in our community, because I want to have these guys. It's so funny. I'm doing this little project with my kids, and we're literally taking popsicle sticks and building, like, because we can't get our land yet, I'm using it as a way of, like, taking our ideas and bringing them into the physical. So I'm literally building a template for a community, and I'm building all the buildings and where they would be and how we would set things up, and it'll help me, like, when push comes to shove and I have to sit down and I need help, people will see exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, I have so many fucking notebooks full of ideas. And I can't stay on track in this video. I'm just like off to one thing or another. My point is, with all that shit, is that these are going to be communities that are there to build new earth, to show children how to be independent and grow their own food or have their own business. If you want to be an artist, how can you monetize that? How can you be a part of this community? It's a great example of what I mean by people need community. Like, human beings were, like, created to be in communities, to create and express and to live, like, a comfortable life where they're not in survival mode worrying about how they're going to pay their rent. No, every day they can wake up and decide how they want to express themselves in an authentic way. There is no pressure. It's like not like these communities are not like the slave system. Like, people are going to have a hard time transitioning because they're not, it's like their brains are still wired to be like, okay, I'm going to get up early, and what do I have to go be productive at today? Where do I have to go clock in? Like, no, you say where you're going to be. And anyways, we're teaching children that we are creating these communities around integrity and respect and, like, connection to nature, and, like, getting away from the programming, and like, if couples come on and start being in their shadow and showing that, then we're not going to just oust them, we're going to help them, right? And another thing that happened in my past that helped me understand, like, wow, that was to prepare me for my future, is when I was in college, I worked for years with my mom. My mom is such a G in so many ways, like, but anyways, she helped me. She ran her own business, where she still does, where she works with hospice patients. And I worked with elderly people for years, and I was with them while they passed. And it honestly, that's another thing that just freaking drives me crazy, is we just throw our old people away like they're nothing, like they don't have something to give. Like, and that's exactly why I feel like another reason why human beings live just a tiny fraction of the potential that a human body could live, because what keeps anyone going, no matter where you're at, is like feeling like you have a purpose, feeling like, and we just throw our elderly people away like they don't have a purpose. Are you kidding me? Like, they have just as much to teach these children as any teacher. And that's just because they've experienced life and they have perspectives to share. And you'll see that too, like, the more developed spiritual leaders are usually older, and they've been in the game a while, and they've experienced life, and they've went through a lot of tough shit. And so when a lot of new people come in to the spiritual community who are younger, they need that time to live some more life. They need that time to really learn the lessons. And some people come in tuned in, but it doesn't mean that they don't get stuck. And it's easy to get stuck with all the new age information, because it will justify ego. Like, oh man, I don't want to go off on that tangent, but it keeps, like, spirit keeps bringing it to the forefront for me to talk about. I hate talking about it because I feel like I trigger a lot of people, and I really don't have a desire to trigger people too much. Like, I'll poke you a little bit. Look at your shadow, you know? But I also understand that if you go hardcore trying to trigger people thinking you're helping them, that's also like generating negative energy that can come in your direction. So also make sure you shield and protect yourself energetically, because that's another thing going around. Oh, you don't have to shield yourself. And I know I've ranted about this before, but that is infiltration in the spiritual community to say, you don't have to shield yourself. You're always shielded. That's just fear. If you think you have to shield yourself, that's fear. That is fucking manipulation. If you're conscious enough to see that there's more out here than what we can observe with our physical eyes, and that they can siphon off your energy, and you know these facts, shield yourself. Why would you make it harder on yourself by letting the shit in and then having to fight it off? Because that's what's going to happen. Or it's just going to stay stuck in you because you're not going to realize it because you'll be in your ego. So your ego convinces you that you think you're right, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot, guys. And hold on, I had more. Oh, yeah. Back to the actual thing I was talking about. I don't know if I'm going to post this because it's so freaking all over the place. So I'm going to, so I always, after I had that experience where we had our foster brother, the reason I get so upset, and I'm just going to share this because people don't know how extreme abuse is. When my mom had her camp and my foster brother was in, he had a family. There was like 4 or 5 of them. He had sisters and brothers, and they were all sexually assaulted. And we found out because the children started talking to the counselors at their camp. So each of the kids, you know, there's girl cabins at certain age groups, and then the boy cabins and all that. And, you know, you sit in a little circle with your flashlight and people open up. Well, little girl started talking too much, and by law, we have to report it and all that kind of stuff. And all this stuff we used to go through every single year. And my mom, I think she ran the camp for like 15 plus years. And now she just runs the center because it's a lot of work to do it every single summer now. And in COVID, that's what happened with that. So they had to stop. She couldn't even run. People couldn't come into the center because I guess that counts as like a church. And here the churches were closed. But anyways, him and his siblings were abused. And like, it was to the point where the boys would intentionally like go to the bathroom in their pants so they wouldn't be raped by the family member. Yeah, it was bad. And that was my foster brother, and he came in and he's so sweet. He actually ended up doing all right. And, you know, being able to function in terms of being able to function in society and stuff. But if I could tell you how many cases of that, and like how many kids would come to camp with lice, and when I was a kid, from 0 to 8, I was that kid, but I didn't get molested or anything. I was just, me and my brother were just neglected, like, you know. And so it was like a part of me could connect with that. And so I always planned after my kids got older to have foster kids. This was even before I met Lance, because I just wanted to be a part of the solution. And I know that a lot of people just get foster kids because they get paid to have the kids, and they're not all of them are good people. So that's why these communities are so important to me, because all these kids who I can't even imagine what kind of trauma that they went through with the human trafficking and the abuse and all that. Like, I'm so sensitive. Like, watch TV and stuff. Like, I don't go too deep into it because I want to be able to keep it together to like make this video, you know. But back in January, I had a dream, and it was crazy. Princess Diana came into the dream, and I was like sitting in a circle, and it was her, it was another person in my family who's physically abused by her husband. So there's 3 people in my family. I don't want to like get detailed on who it was, but there's 3 people in my family there who have been physically abused, and some continue to be physically abused in their marriage. And there was another woman there who I worked with at my mom's camp. She's actually a social worker now. She works with kids. Her dad is also a pastor. And then there was a couple other people I didn't recognize. And then Diana was like, I don't remember it verbatim. I have it written down because I have a little dream log. But in a nutshell, Diana was talking about the children and how we have to come together for the children. And I was very emotional in that dream. I woke up like sobbing. I remember the dream ended, and it was like one of the husbands of the people sitting in the circle came up behind me, and all of a sudden, it was a group of women. We were all women. It felt like a baby shower vibe or something, just sitting in a circle, just, having fun. And then all of a sudden it gets serious. We talk about the children, and then this man comes up, and then everybody just freezes. And it was just like, he didn't like what we were talking about. And so, anyways, I woke up, I wrote the dream down, and then I just started getting all these downloads about the children, and I just cried a lot that day. I don't think I ever cried so much in one day. And it was just a lot running through me. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that we got to show up for these kids, and we got to start now. Like, me and Lance we have enough saved up to buy a couple acres, but I feel like for me that's playing small. Like, we have to start physically putting these communities together so when the time comes, we're ready. And we have to put them together, not just in a create gardens and make it so we are self-sustainable. We have to create these environments where somebody comes in, they have an issue, and I say, there's the adult you need to go talk about that issue because they experience that and they can help you with it. And then we have another child come in, and guess what? When we raise these children up in these systems and they heal, then those children help heal the next children. And it's Spirit saying the beauty about these children going through the trauma was that they chose it so they could come in and help other people, to the point where New Earth is just a mass amount of healed people, healing people. And then it's that heaven on earth. And that's how we create it. But we have to start making these templates and creating these communities in order to, manifest it. And, I think the reason I came in with such dominant masculine energy was because I get shit done. And I think I have to light fire. Like, for me, I'm like, I can just go do this myself once, and there's this one community. But Spirit wants me to talk about it because more people need to be nudged in this direction. And I'm so fucking connected to it because of what I experienced that there's nothing inside of me that says, I just want to go hold seminars and make a lot of money and have this really awesome property for myself and then just have people come visit and just talk about spirituality. Like, fuck that. I'm boots on the ground. And we need more people who are boots on the ground. Side note, if anybody's in the Pittsburgh area, me and another friend of mine, I don't know if she'd want me to say her name, so I'm not gonna, but She probably wouldn't care. We're going to be putting a group together of people in this area so we can start connecting. And I feel like if you're any type of leader, you have connection, try to bring people together in your area so we can start connecting. Because once we start connecting, that's when everyone's like, yeah, I have a little money to chip in for land. Yeah, I have a little money. And then you can create these contracts or whatever you need to do. Plan it. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying. We got to start coming together in the physical now. That's what this next shift is. And to me, that's very foreign. I've lived my whole life so sensitive that I don't even have friends. Real talk, because I don't have the freaking energy for it. I'm busy trying to stay grounded because even when I was a kid, I used to pass out because I could not stay grounded. And like right now, I was like, Spirit, do I really have to do a video? Because I have these grounding blankets that I've just been sitting on constantly, and then getting out in nature and make sure I'm barefoot. And just after this, I'm going to take my kids to the park. I have a heart, like, before I came out of this video, I was just like shaking. I was like, Spirit, I can't make this video because I just, ugh. And the hardest part, like, and I'll just share this in case anyone else is feeling this way too. The hardest part for me is that I used to ground by eating like junk food, because it like goes in, makes you feel a little dense because it's not good for you. So your body feels more dense if you eat crap, right? So it helped me ground. But now I'm to a point where, okay, I have to integrate more light. I have to raise my vibration. Well, you're not a vibrational match to that crap that you used to ground yourself with. So if I eat it, I will get the worst stomach pains ever. Like, I won't touch it now because I'm afraid of the pain. When people say, like, you'll know when it's time to quit something because Spirit will move you the hell out of it, they're not lying. So now I have to grab myself with a mass amount of sweet potatoes. Any type of root vegetable will help. I sleep with a grounding pillowcase and a grounding sheet underneath me. So I'm, like, literally plugged in all night while I sleep. And, yeah, I still have to, I have to put a tremendous amount of effort forth, and the eclipses are like whooping my ass. So I'm just sleeping and taking care of myself, taking care of my kids in the house and stuff. But anyways, my kids are coming, but I want to finish the deer analogy. So the baby deer's coming up the road. All of a sudden, the car's coming around the corner. I'm freaking out. Something's going to happen to him, right? And he goes across. It was like he just goes across. And that's what Spirit's saying right now. Like, don't worry. Like, you're worried about it right now. Like, you're worried about the kids. You're worried about how is everything going to work out. You don't even know what property you're going to buy. You don't even know. You don't even have, like, do you have enough money to get it? Like, how is it going to come to you? Blah, 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 blah. You don't know. And that's how I felt when I was watching that little deer. I was like, I didn't know if the car was going to hit it or not. All I could do was just sit there and be like, I hope this. And that's kind of like the energy we're in right now. So when that deer crossed, it was like, and we can all take that deep breath right now, because we finally got over, we've been, and it felt like we got stuck right here. We're not quite to the top of the hill, the roller coaster, and it just got stuck for like months. And now we're finally, like, we're at the top, but not going down yet. But now, they just let the dog out. She'll be fine. But now we're about to coast down, and it's going to be scary. Just like it is when you go over that hill, like, oh shit. Because a lot of crazy stuff is going to start happening and coming out, and you already know. Okay. But we're going to start coasting down, but we got to step into these communities so we're ready and prepared. And so let's start connecting with each other in our areas. So like I said, anyone in the Pittsburgh area, get in contact with me on Instagram would be the easiest way, or you can email me. And also, and if you are in the Pittsburgh area on July 10th, Lee Dundas, the human rights attorney, Sacha Stone, what the heck's that other guy's name? A bunch of them. I forget what the tour is called. They're coming July 10th. We can all meet up together. If you guys want to, I got to figure out, somebody watch my kids. But anyways, I love you guys. My dog is out. She doesn't run away, but my children, I got to get back to life. But I had to come on here, and I expected to talk for like 15 minutes so I could share it on Instagram, but obviously that ain't happening because 40 minutes in. Guys, please start connecting with each other. Please. We got to do this. We got to do this. Stop thinking your mission is just to freaking make money for yourself. This is so much more than that. Okay? I love you. Get through these energies. Ground yourself. Respect yourself. Don't give more than you can right now. Take it easy.